I'm voting all right otherwise.
We will call to order the regular meeting of the Batavia City Council for Monday, May 20th, 2013. Would you all please rise for a brief invocation? Be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, as we begin our meeting at the Batavia City Council, we are ever mindful and we ask that a special blessing be showered upon all those from our country who suffered dramatic damage this afternoon in southwestern parts of the United States due to serious storms. We just ask that guidance and blessings and support be showered upon each and every individual impacted, and we know that our country and our nation will rise to the occasion. We also tonight want to remember those from our community who are serving so admirably in defense of the liberties of the United States of America on foreign soil, and we just ask that a special blessing be showered upon them, along with all those from our rest of our country who are serving so ably in the defense of our liberties. Tonight, we also want to remember our community, all those who are sick or infirmed, and we just ask that a special blessing be showered upon them. We ask for guidance and direction tonight as we conduct the affairs of business of the city of Batavia, knowing that each and every one of us is here hoping to create a community that will well serve the community and our generations to follow us in the days ahead. We ask for all these blessings. Amen. Alderman Vasilian, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown? Here. Clark? Atack? Here. Alderman Stark is absent. Chanzit?
Here.
Wolf?
Here.
Sparks?
Here.
O'Brien?
Here.
Callahan?
Here.
Holman?
Here.
Sam?
Here.
Vasilian?
Here.
Cerrone?
Here.
McFadden?
Here.
Let the record reflect that 13 of the 14 elected members of the City Council are present and accounted for this evening's meeting, so we do have the necessary quorum to conduct business. Alderman Stark informed me she would not be present tonight. She is out of town on business and so will not be able to attend. Moving then to item number 4 on our agenda, which are items to be removed, added, or changed on tonight's agenda. Alderman Sparks, as Chairman of Governmental Services, would you present this, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just had another request, too. So there's 3 changes. The first change is on item number 20 for the closed session. It says collective bargaining. We're adding property acquisition into it. And the other 2 changes are items on the consent agenda that will be pulled off the consent and put on the regular agenda. The first one is item H, ordinance 13-19. Will become item 11B, and item I, resolution 13-70-R, will become 11A. I move we pass the agenda as amended.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Sparks, second by Alderman Wolf for the approval of the agenda as amended. Would you give me that first change you read again?
It's the ordinance 13-19, amending the City of Batavia zoning code, Title 10 of the City Code Chapter.
Okay, and we're going to move that to where?
To 11B.
11B. All right. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, Your Honor. May we move matters from the public up higher in the agenda?
Matters from the public? Fine with me. Anybody have any problems with that? Why don't we-
Where?
Anywhere higher, just, it's my personal opinion that I'd like
Why
to.
don't we put it after 10A? Call it 10A. after
That'd be
the
great.
order.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, matters the public to 10A. Now I'll move we accept the agenda as changed.
Good.
Again.
Moved by Sparks, second by Wolf for the approval of the agenda as changed. Any discussion further? Clerk, call the roll.
Sparks?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Holman?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Vasilian?
Aye.
Cerrone?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Atack?
Aye.
Chanzit?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Motion for the approval of the agenda is 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Moving then to item number 5, which is the consent agenda. Alderman Sparks, as Chairman of Governmental Services, would you present this, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. Consent agenda reads as follows. To accept and place on file, item A, April 2013 building report. Item B, city service minutes for March 27th and April 2nd, 2013. Item C, government service for March 25th, 2013. Item D, historic preservation minutes for April 8th, 2013. The approvals are E, May 10th, 2013 payroll in amount of $737,542.12. Item F, May 17th, 2013 payables in the amount of $3,560,955.91. G, Resolution 13-72R, accepting planning staff assistance services from CMAP for housing study agreement, came out of the COW as on a vote of 13-0. Item J, Ordinance 13-21, Community Development Ordinance Enforcement Authority. That also came out of the Committee of the Whole with a vote of 13-0. I move we accept the consent agenda as read.
Second. Moved by Alderman Sparks, second by Alderman O'Brien for the approval of the consent agenda, the agenda as read, or consent agenda as read. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Sparks.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Vasilian.
Aye.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark. Atack.
Aye.
Transit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved, 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Okay, moving to item number 6, which is our Main Street presentation. Alderman Psalm is going to become the representative for Main Street for a few moments, changing hats.
I am. All right. All right. So for the month of April, we had 65 volunteers donate 154 hours of planning, meetings, programming, and events in April. Also in April, we had 2 new businesses open up in downtown, O Sole Mio, the Gelateria, over on River Street, and the Healing Arts Metaphysical Center on Wilson Street. Main Street successes over this weekend. I know many of you attended. We had our big annual fundraiser, Cocktails in the Park, formerly known as Cocktails on Clark. Main Street would like to thank all of those involved to make the event a success. It took a lot of people, but we had a lot of people. We're estimating about 350, if not closer to 400 people attended right here on city property, facing the river. And yeah, there were hundreds of volunteers both that day or hundreds of volunteer hours the day of, as well as the months planning up to it. Main Street would specifically like to thank the City of Batavia and the Special Events Committee and staff for helping relocate our event, because due to the flooding on Clark Island, we thought it was best to scooch the event down a little bit, or up north on the river. And the city was awesome to work with in getting that organized and having a backup plan in case of rain and everything. So we really thank you for that. The farmers market is scheduled to start on Saturday, June 8th, and run through Saturday, October 19th, and will be open from 8 a.m. until noon every day, every Saturday. Look for their new location on River Street. Also new to this year, Andre's, the restaurant above, all spoked up, the bike shop. They have a food truck, so they're going to be making an appearance every week at our farmers market, selling breakfast burritos and whatnot. And O Sole Mio will also be making gelato from fruit at the market. They're going to be purchasing items at the market and making gelato fresh. Then on Saturday, June 15th, everyone's invited to come and enjoy a full day of activities, starting with the farmers market at 8 a.m. on River Street. United Way's Dash with Dad at 8:30, starting over here at the Riverwalk. And then the Batavia Green Walk will be from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m., also wrapping around the Riverwalk and Peg Bond and heading down past the playground area. At the Green Walk, there will be a family bike ride run by Matt Knowles of All Spoked Up, kayaking and paddle boats for $10, free yoga, dance, martial arts, kids activities, green talks and workshops, artisan market, live music, food, and more. For more information about downtown Batavia and upcoming events, please visit Batavia Main Street website or phone 630-761-3528. Now, the business of the month that we're going to present is Green Home Care, helping you with your home energy and insulating needs. And here to talk about that business is Keith Line. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Keith Line. My company is Green Home Care Incorporated. We're here in Batavia. We supply energy efficiency solutions for homes and businesses in the Batavia and the Fox Valley area and the surrounding suburbs as well. So from insulation to energy audits to thermostats, everything that's involved in helping people save money by being green. We also are proud to be part of the Batavia Green Walk. We are on the planning committee. Is everybody posters? And stop by Joy to get some postcards and things like that for the Green Walk. And my company can be found at greenhomecareinc.com. And anything energy related, anything that relates to helping people save money, being green, we can provide those services.
Do you have a telephone number or a mailing address?
Sure we do.
Can you give those for us for the record?
Our telephone number is 630-708-8920, and we're at 626 Park Street in Batavia, Illinois. And we love to work with Batavia businesses as well. We work with a bunch of Batavia green businesses, and we work with anybody that is affiliated with green organizations in the area, the Environmental Commission, and anybody else.
Well, we welcome you to our community, and we thank you for your interest, and we wish you many years of business growth and success.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for being on the cutting edge of what is emerging to be one of the great movements in American history. So
I hope so.
appreciate it and all your good efforts.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving then to item number 7, which is presentation of a proclamation for Public Works Week. Who's got that one? Alderman Sparks?
Okay. Proclamation reads as follows. Whereas public works services provided in our community are an integral part of our citizens' everyday lives, and whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works systems and programs such as streets, water, wastewater, and electric, and whereas the health, safety, and comfort of this community greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skills of public work officials, and whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff public work departments is materially influenced by the people's attitude and understanding the importance of the work they perform. Now therefore, I, Jeffrey D. Schelke, Mayor of the City of Batavia, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through the 25th, 2013 as National Public Works Week. The City of Batavia, and I call upon all citizens and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which public work officials make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life on this 20th day of May 2013. Signed, Jeffrey D. Schelke, Mayor of Batavia.
I'll make a motion for its approval.
Make a motion, we approve the proclamation.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Sparks, second by Alderman Wolf for the approval of the proclamation. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sparks?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Homan?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Vasilian?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Clark? Atack?
Aye.
Chanzit?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Proclamation is approved. 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. We're very honored to have our Public Works Director, Mr. Holm, here. Gary, I'll give you this. And would you like to make some comments?
Yes, please. As I do every year, I just wanted to express thanks to the men and women of the Public Works Department for the hard work that they do every day serving the citizens and kind of working behind the scenes on the city's infrastructure to improve everyone's quality of life. I also am pleased to announce the 5th annual Truck Tales, one of my favorite events throughout the year. It's a program geared towards children ages 4 to 7, and it's held at the library downstairs in the Youth Services. This year we're going to be holding the event on Wednesday, May 22nd, so this Wednesday at 4 p.m. And if you're interested, you can call the library to register, and we will be reading the perennial favorite, The Three Little Rigs. So it's a fun event, and the kids enjoy and get to go out and crawl on the tractors, so, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving to item number 8, which is a proclamation for honoring CASA on their 25th anniversary. Alderman Sparks.
Thank you. Proclamation, Casa, King County, 25th anniversary. Whereas all Americans shall have personal responsibility for the safety, security, and well-being of children in our families, neighborhoods, and communities, and whereas court-appointed special advocates, known as CASA, King County recruits, trains, and supports volunteer citizens to advocate for the best interest of abused, neglected, and dependent children in King County's juvenile court system, and whereas CASA King County's volunteers work tirelessly to ensure that every child is placed in a safe, permanent, and nurturing home, and whereas CASA is the only organization in King County providing court-ordered advocacy to 100% of the youth at no cost to taxpayers or the families involved, and whereas CASA King County is funded solely through direct support, grants, and special events, and whereas CASA King County is recognized for training nearly 1,000 volunteer advocates over 25 years of dedicated service and serving as the voice of more than 3,000 children who have found themselves through no fault of their own in the juvenile court systems of King County. And whereas locally we support the Guardian Ad Litem program offered by CASA King County through community volunteers who make a difference in the lives of children they serve, many who reside in our community. Now therefore I, Jeffrey D. Schalke, Mayor of the City of Batavia, Illinois, on behalf of the Batavia City Council, hereby extend congratulations to CASA King County for 25 years of service to the 16th Judicial Circuit Court and encourage citizens to recognize and reach out to those who may be affected by child abuse in order to help ensure that all King County children may live free of abuse, abandonment, and neglect. And I hereby proclaim May 20th, 2013 as CASA King County Day in Batavia, Illinois. Signed, Jeffrey D. Schalke, Mayor. I move we accept the place on file the proclamation.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Sparks, second by Alderman Wolf for the approval of the proclamation. Clerk call the roll.
Sparks.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Basilian.
Aye.
Sarone.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark. Atak.
Aye.
Chanzit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Proclamation is approved, 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. We're honored this evening to have Lauren Egan of King County CASA here, and I'm here to thank you and present you with a copy of the proclamation. Would you like to make some comments?
On behalf of CASA, I just want to say thank you to City Council and the City of Batavia for supporting us with this proclamation. It's our 25th anniversary this year, and we wouldn't be as successful as we are without your support and the great support of the communities around us. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you. Okay, moving into item number 9 on our agenda, which is the reappointment of Ralph S. Beck to the Batavia Police Pension Board. Ralph has served for a number of years in that capacity, and I've asked him to accept another term, and he's so agreed to do so. I'd ask for a motion of confirmation.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Atak, second by Alderman Brown. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll.
Atak.
Aye.
Chanzit.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Sparks.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Basilian.
Aye.
Sarone.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark.
Motion for the confirmation of the appointment of Ralph Beck is approved, 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Okay, moving to item number 10. Each year, as I've said previously, one of the great traditions of Batavia and one of the great meaningful moments that our community is blessed to encounter and enjoy on an annual basis is the annual Loyalty Day Parade put on by the Batavia VFW Post 1197. And we're honored tonight to have Mike Bryan, who is the Batavia VFW Loyalty Day Chairman and former 19th District Commander of the VFW here tonight. And Mike, if you would come forward and turn this over to you.
Thank you. My name is Mike Bryan on behalf of our commander at Veterans of Foreign War Post 1197 and our auxiliary presidents. We're very honored to pull off our parade this year. And we will be asking for all your help again next year. At this time, if I may just take a couple seconds and introduce the people who get dirty with my committee. My assistant chairman, Wendy Meyer, Kyle Dinwiddie, Mark Meyer, and Yvonne Dinwiddie's over by the post. At this time, we'd like to give out our awards, if we may. And once again, thank you, and most of your departments, the police department, fire department, streets and sanitation, electrical department. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce, and forgive me if I forgot anybody. It's a team effort, and the weather held out for it this year. So I will not have to be chairman next year. They told me I had to do it until I had it right. So without ado, we'll take care of our certificates and awards. First of all, I'd like to present the certificate to the mayor and the council for all their support. And as you come up for your awards, we put a scrapbook together every year, about yay thick, and this is part of it. So we can get a little photo op as we give out your awards. We'd appreciate it. Carol's going to do the announcing. Carol?
First of all, Mr. Mayor, would you like to hand out the Mayor's Award for this Loyalty Day parade this year?
We have somebody here from,
Batavia High School, marching band.
every year, the VFW asked me to present a mayor's choice as something that is significant in the parade. This year, I thought that particularly the Batavia High School band was very special and supportive, and I just wanted to specifically honor them and thank them for their continued good efforts in promoting one of the great moments, as I said earlier, in the Batavia's yearly annual event. So there's a couple of mementos, and thank you again.
Don't go anywhere.
Will not go anywhere.
Let me just kind of show this. First of all, we're going to start with the awards right away. I just wanted to show everybody these beautiful plaques, and we also have certificates that we hand out to 5 different categories, first, second, and third in each category. And first up, it says right here, first place was Batavia High School Band in the band category. So I'll let our presenters take care of that. Medina Highlanders, second place winner in the band category. Hicks Brothers Music Marching Guitar Band, third place winner in the band category. In the youth category, the Mooseheart Navy Junior ROTC, they had lots of graduation events and they could not make it tonight. In the youth category, the second place winner is Batavia Park District Spirit Cheer Team. Thank you. Third place, Youth Awana Clubs of Christ the King Church. Got him? Good. In the adult category, first place winners was the Kane County Mounted Rangers. In the adult category, the second place winner, Batavia Shrine Club. The adult category, the third place winner is Northern Illinois Chapter of Military Vehicle Preservation Association. In the commercial category, the first place winner is Batavia Academy of Dance.
You can come closer with your pictures, don't?
In the commercial division, the second place winner, the Attic Christian Arts Center. And in the commercial division, the third place winner, always a participant and a big hit in our parade, Fox Valley Corvette Club. The fifth and last category is military units. The first place winner was VFW Post 11018, the Bartlett Post. Second place winner in Military Division VFW and Ladies Auxiliary, 19th District. And our last recipient in military, and our last recipient, and I told him he would be last, C Troop, 106th Cavalry. What? I don't see them here. Okay. And we don't see here, we had a Poppy King and Queen, but they're not here tonight, and I don't have their names in front of me, so I'll hand them over to Yvonne.
All right, for the Poppy Queen, it was Jordan Lundgren, and for the Poppy King, it was Lyndon Brine. And they got little medals for their ride. And then our Grand Marshal was Bob Zeman. He is a former past commander of the post, and his wife Barb passed away a couple of years ago. She chaired the Loyalty Day Parade Committee for many years and did a tremendous amount of work, as did Bob, on the committee. So he was the Grand Marshal for the parade this year. And those are his.
Certainly, on behalf of the Batavia community, I just want to again offer our heartfelt thanks to everybody involved at the VFW Post 1197 for a truly extraordinary job. I thought that this year's parade was specifically very successful and most meaningful, and I know thousands of Batavia residents enjoyed it and participated in it in some form or fashion. And so I just want to publicly thank each and every one of you for making a very meaningful experience for Batavia and a very patriotic and supportive theme of our military and the American ideals and all the things that make our country the great and grand place that it is. So thanks for continuing to be such a great partner of us in the Batavia community. Okay. Moving then, as per action on the consent agenda, to item 10A, which is matters from the public. Does anybody in the public this evening want to address the city council? I'd ask that you come forward and use the podium. Mike? Everybody's walking out, not walking up. Okay, we'll move on then to item number 11, which is Resolution 13-69-R, IDOT road closures for the Batavia Triathlon and the Farmers Market. And who's got this one? Alderman Wolf.
Each year, we have to request permits from IDOT to close any of the state routes that we have. Last year, we tried to eliminate the need for resolution each and every time we had to do that. We authorized the police chief to seek a permit, and we just found out that IDOT won't accept that any longer. So we made the decision last week to bring this directly to council so that we could get this done before the farmers market and for the triathlon. Basically, this is something I guess we're going to have to do each and every time we want to close one of the state routes, is bring it to the council for an approval. So with that being said, I will make a motion that we approve Resolution 13-69-R and IDOT road closure request for the triathlon and the farmers market.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Wolf, second by Alderman O'Brien for the approval of Resolution 13-69-R. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Wolf? Oh, sorry.
I just want a clarification. The road closure, we're not really closing 25, but because the intersection is part of River Street, that's why we have to do this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Wolf?
Aye.
Sparks?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Holman?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Vasilian? Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Brown?
Aye.
Clark?
Aye.
Atak?
Aye.
Transit?
Resolution 13-69-R is approved, 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. Okay, moving to item number 11A, as per the action of the agenda changes, which is the Harris Downtown Improvement Grant. Alderman Brown, do you have this, please?
Isn't 11A ordinance 13-19?
1370R.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, both 1319 and 1321, I thought we changed, right?
Yeah, it's 1370 is 11A.
13.
I already tagged it 11A when 11B was added.
Yeah, that's what I
Even
had
though it's
written
out
down.
of
It's
order.
resolution, excuse me, it's resolution 13-70-R, which was removed from the consent agenda.
Okay, Your Honor, staff had found that in reviewing their files, going through the process of this grant award, one of the requirements that the committee and the council adopted with the last change of the grant program was that all of the buildings that are applying, for all the business owners that are applying for grants have to have their buildings up to code and everything all up to snuff. And in going through the files and such and getting ready for this grant tonight, staff found that there's a deck on the back of the building that they applied for a permit for, they built according to city code, but they never got their final occupancy, or never got their final inspection on the deck. So the applicant is aware of this issue, and staff is going to go ahead and work with them to get this taken care of. So it was asked to be taken off the consent agenda tonight for that reason, but I would ask that, I'm going to make a motion that we go ahead and we approve Resolution 13-70-R contingent the inspection and all other code requirements be adhered to, and the staff is satisfied with the outcome before it's taken care of.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and second for the approval of Resolution 13-70-R. Any discussion? I might note, Mr. Harris came by this morning at the office and talked with me and indicated he had the list of the items that were outstanding in the permit process, and said that he was prepared to meet fully all of them, and that he would certainly agree to the contingency that we approve this contingent on him completing it, so he didn't have any problem with it.
Yeah, and that rather than just pulling it off the consent agenda tonight and sending it back until this was taken care of in the effort of trying to keep things moving in town, well, I thought it was best just to pass and contingent this being done so it doesn't have to go back through the city council process again.
Correct. Any other discussion? Clerk, call the roll then.
Brown.
Aye.
Clark. Atack.
Aye.
Chanzit. Wolf.
Aye.
Sparks.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Callahan.
Aye.
Holman.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
Vasilian.
Aye.
Saron.
Aye.
McFadden.
Aye. Motion for the approval of Resolution 13-70-R is approved. 13 yes, no nos, 1 absent. Okay, then per the action of the agenda, moving to item 11B, which is ordinance 13-19, amending the City of Batavia zoning code for mixed-use downtown and Chapter 6 use definitions. Alderman Brown, do you have that one?
I do, Your Honor, and I wasn't aware that it was going to be pulled off of, that a councilman wanted it pulled off of the agenda for tonight, off of the consent agenda, so I would ask that whatever the issue is be brought up now so we can move on with the motion.
I asked that it be removed. My issue is this, is that I didn't feel comfortable voting no on a consent agenda item without just being able to say this. The city of Batavia is trying to become known as an art community. I hold my friends and coworkers who do happen to have tattoos, and they view tattoos as body art. And it just seemed to me that stigmatizing body art moving forward didn't seem appropriate. The reason I say that is places like this do not survive if they are not good places. They have to have great sanitation. They have to abide by regulations. So I just didn't feel comfortable voting no on a consent agenda for a single item. So that's why I respectfully ask that it be removed.
Understood. A little background on this, Your Honor, is the tattoo parlors, there's 2 located in town right now, and as far as, it was kind of a cleaning up of the tattooing and the body piercing and such like that, and some restrictions put on how many could be in town, and the 2 that are in town are grandfathered in. They're going to be allowed to stay. So there were quite a few other items on the ordinance also that were discussed by Plan Commission. No one was at the Plan Commission hearing during a public meeting to discuss it. It was discussed at CDC and recommended for approval, so I will move for approval of ordinance 13-19.
Second.
Moved by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman Wolf for the approval of ordinance 13-19, amending the City of Batavia Code Title 10 of the City Code Chapters 2-4 Downtown Mixed Use District and Chapter 6 of the use definitions. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that a couple people brought this up to me that live in my ward, and they were asking if something happened to one of the current tattoo parlors, which, as Alderman Chanzit said, they won't survive if they're very clean, all of that, and have good clientele. If one of these already in existence decided they wanted to relocate in the downtown, they would not be allowed to if this passes. So for that reason, I think I would have to change my vote to no, because I don't want to see that happen. If they happen to have an issue, have strong clientele, I would like to just relocate in the same area and not have to relocate somewhere else in the city of Batavia.
Other discussion?
I was wondering, and I apologize for bringing it up at this late moment too, is it possible that tattoo parlors can be regulated, such as liquor licenses are regulated, that they can be taken on an individual basis and there can be a regulatory control just as you have with those, so that we don't have to take a position that says there can't be any more, but we have the ability to set what is a reasonable number.
Certainly within the preview of the city council to change this anytime they wanted to change it. So in the future, I mean, we're just setting the standard for this moment, and it certainly would be, correct me if I'm wrong, but we would have the right at any given moment to bring it back before you or bring it back to CDC, and you could have another discussion, and there could be another obvious or change to the ordinance, and the council could go whatever direction they wanted to go. So this isn't like a end-all situation. This is just, you know, kind of a holding for the moment as we kind of absorb 2 tattoo parlors in downtown Batavia. You know, I had several citizens talk to me about, you know, they didn't like the suggestion that all of a sudden we had 2 and maybe we were going to have 3 or 4, and suddenly we would become the tattoo capital of the western suburban area. And I'm aware of some other mayors in the suburban area who have had the issue where they've had multiple tattoo parlors show up in their community, and just kind of the connotation of that kind of clustering of that activity in their community cast some aspersions that I think that they didn't necessarily like, without getting into a lot of detail about it. So you know, that was one of the reasons we brought this up, was to kind of exercise some element of control as to how many there were at this given time. And certainly if some others wanted to come in and pitch their case, you know, it would certainly be within the purview of the city council to entertain a motion to change this direction and go in a different way if we wanted to do it at a future date.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Alderman Callahan?
May I ask if that would be a change from, I believe it's currently permissible, to conditional?
Depends what the city wants to do at the time. They can make it a permitted use in any zoning area, they can make it conditional use, what have you. So it depends upon really what they're looking at. And I think Scott can.
Scott?
Yeah, right now, the way the ordinance is amended is being proposed is that it would not be a permitted use in the DMU district, which is basically the downtown area. They would still be permitted uses in the CC community commercial as well as the mixed use district. And as part of our overall look at the zoning ordinance, we're also looking at possibly making it a permitted use in one of our industrial districts as well. So there are places where you can locate them without any special permission from the city, other than, you know, just building permits for interior build out. But as we have it worded right now, yes, it would not be a permitted use in the downtown district.
And to follow up on that, that would be my question as to it being permissible. My understanding is that they could apply and start a new business, but there would be, with a conditional use, my understanding is they would come back before city council and to get approval.
Basically, with the permitted use, there could just start up without any permission from the city, unless the city chooses to pass some ordinances regulating and licensing tattoo parlors. With conditional use, it would have to go through a process and get approval by the city council.
So if we made an amendment to the current resolution to change from permissible to conditional, could that be done?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, but this current ordinance, it takes it out from permitted.
Takes it from
It takes it from permitted to prohibited.
Right.
I mean, the conditional, if you make it a conditional use, basically you're allowing it as a permitted use, but you can only put, you know, some type of limited conditions on the use. So you basically have to grant it. But it's, you know, there's a process you have to go through with the Plan Commission, a public hearing and all that.
And that's what it used to be.
Before this current ordinance is correct, right?
comments or questions? Okay, we have a motion and second on the floor for the approval of ordinance 13-19. Alderman McAllen?
Would I make an amendment to the resolution currently, and that one we would vote on first, prior to the one that's on the floor? Okay. Then I would just like to amend the ordinance as written to change tattoo parlors from permissible to conditional.
From prohibited.
I'm sorry, from prohibited to conditional. Well, I was going from as it is right now. Which way would I need? Permissible to conditional?
The way it's being presented.
Okay, I'm sorry. Then it would be from prohibited to conditional.
So everybody understands that would allow it, anybody that wanted to come in with, say, a third one or change their location, they would have to come in for a conditional use, and it would go before the CDC and regular channels, and obviously come to the city council for a final vote then. So the council would retain the control over it, but you would have to vote on each and every one of them that would come before you. Alderman O'Brien?
But ordinarily, with the conditional, it would almost be a given that it would pass.
Why is that?
You would have to have a compelling reason to deny it, is what would happen. You could put conditions on it and limitations, but unless there was a compelling reason that you felt that it was not an appropriate use, you would have to basically grant it.
May I ask what some compelling reasons might be?
That would be the city council's determination, is what is a compelling reason. I mean, traffic, incidental, secondary effects, that could be, part of justifications for denying it, perhaps.
Could impact on existing businesses be one of them?
Possibly.
Mr. McGrath, did you want to make a comment? You had your hand up.
You just can't use a conditional use to prohibit something. So let's be real blunt about it. So you can pretty it up, but you can't use a conditional use and put conditions to stop something. You have to have something articulable, provable. Impacts on the next door business isn't that somebody says they don't like it, or they don't like, people with black T-shirts or something like that. It's really clear. There's some other issues to me. I'm just uncomfortable with writing legislation on the floor. And if there's a concern, I'd just pass it as is and then go right back to committee, because it's clear there's a couple of issues here that might be worked out. But in the meantime, if there seems to be a need for some kind of protection or the status quo, I would just recommend just do it and bring it back to committee for that issue and start again. So I'm not sure that you can do what you're trying to do through a conditional use.
Your Honor, since there wasn't a second on Alderman Callahan's motion yet, I'm wondering if maybe I wouldn't make a motion that we go ahead and pass approval or approve ordinance 13-19, removing the tattoo parlor section out of it, and send that back to CDC for further discussion, as I think there needs to be some clarification for all of us as to what conditional use is and permissible use and things like that. So I would move for that. For
that
motion, I would move to approve ordinance 13-19, removing the tattoo parlor section out of the ordinance.
We had a motion already, we need to withdraw.
There was no second, though.
His died for
No, I
lack
thought
of
we
a
already had
second.
one for,
The one that we had already for.
The original one had a second.
Original one.
yeah, you two need to withdraw your original motion.
So moved.
You agree?
Withdraw the second.
Okay. Now, would you make your motion again?
I would move for approval of ordinance 13-19, removing the tattoo section out of the proposed changes and sending that back to CDC for further discussion.
Second.
Well, Alderman Vasilian had discussed. So moved by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman Vasilian, that we approve ordinance 13-19 with the provision that we'll take the tattoo parlor back for CDC. Alderman Clark?
Well, if we do it that way, then someone applies for a tattoo parlor tomorrow, it would be allowed in the downtown. So what Bill was recommending was passing it as is and then amending it just so we'd have this protection in place if people really, really don't want tattoo parlors downtown. you know, I could care less one way or another, so,
Well, that makes sense, though, and if, that way, we can still have one if there's a compelling reason to, the council can approve a third one.
it's permissible.
It's permissible.
Your Honor,
It's
this
not
is the reason why I made the motion to send it back to committee. This is a discussion that should take place at committee.
That's fine.
That's right. So if we pass what we have here, as Lisa said, echoing Bill, we pass what we have here, no one can come in and put another tattoo parlor in our downtown. And if we have this discussion at committee, then we can amend that ordinance then and make conditional use for tattoo parlors.
After we've had a thorough
After-
discussion.
Yes,
Very
after we had a thorough discussion.
Very similar to what we did with the banks out on Randall Road. Until we had a definite thing, we just said no. We put a moratorium on it till we figured out what we were gonna do with it.
And that, I'd like to see it that way, myself.
Well, then you would have to vote no on Alderman Brown's motion.
I intend to.
Any more discussion, or call the roll then on Alderman Brown's motion?
Brown? Clark? Atack?
No.
Chanzit?
Aye.
Wolf?
No.
Sparks?
No.
O'Brien?
No.
Callahan?
Aye.
Homan?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Vasilian?
Aye.
Saron?
No.
McFadden?
Aye.
It's not a tie, I can tell you that.
No, because it's 7 yes, 6 no.
So Alderman Brown's motion is approved, 7 yes, 6 no.
Okay, so it'll be going back to CDC for further,
For the tattoo parlor will be,
for further consideration.
but the rest of the ordinance passes.
Correct.
All right. So are you going to put that on your committee in the near term, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I'll talk with staff to see whether or not we can get it on the next meeting. It looks like we got a pretty full committee meeting. It might have to go on the one after.
Okay, then let's move to 12, and this is committee appointments and joint committee process. And I sent everybody, hopefully you all got a copy of a memo that I put out about the committee process, as I'm thinking we've kind of tried to make it up as we've gone along here. And the one component we don't have yet is the designated committee assignments between the wards as to who on which ward is going to represent who on what committees. And so I think what I'd like to do is just go right down the aisle here and start, say, with the first ward, and if you two gentlemen would tell us who's going to represent who on what, we'll make a list of these and be prepared to create the committees.
Well, I believe we've already given you Garen is Government Services and CDC.
Okay.
I'm City Services and Public Utilities, and we were going to continue along the same way, I believe. Is that a true statement, Karen?
That's fine.
Second ward, Alderman.
I will be the chairman of city services and stay on public utilities. And Marty will take government services and CDC.
Okay, third ward.
I think we agreed that I would stay on government services, but I would take public utilities in lieu of community development. That way we agreed.
So then Alderman Holman would be community development and city services. Okay. Fourth ward,
Susan was going to remain on the CDC and government services, and then I'll take city services and public utilities.
fifth ward,
Steve is going to take public utilities and government services, and I'm going to move to city services and stay on community development.
okay. Sixth ward,
Public utilities, CDC, government services, city services.
okay, and seventh ward.
What do you want to do?
I don't think you're giving up the chairmanship of CDC, so.
I don't think he'd let me.
I like government services and city services.
So that gives you public utilities and community development.
Where I am now, yeah, public utilities and CDC.
Your Honor, what about co-chairs? Do you want to mess with that at all?
Well, I didn't know who was going to be on what committee, so it was kind of hard to do that right at this moment. But I would like to have a motion to confirm the committee alignments that we've just done, and we'll designate some vice chairman in the next. Move.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Brown, second by Alderman Wolf for the confirmation of the committee assignments. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Brown?
Aye.
Clark? Atack?
Aye.
Transit? Wolf?
Aye.
Sparks?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Homan?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Vasilian?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye. Motion's approved, 13 yes, no no's, 1 absent. And while we're talking about this, the other thing that I guess we don't necessarily need to make a decision tonight, but maybe tomorrow night we do, I'd like to have a sense from all of you as to how you feel we should be voting in the joint committee process. Would everybody like to vote on every issue, or do we only want the members of the committee to vote on? I mean, I think that you don't need to make
We
that.
can talk about that tomorrow night.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I just wanted to get it out there so we get a decision made quick, so that we're not, so think about it overnight, and we'll bring it up tomorrow night and make this up as we go along. All right, okay, moving to 13, this is an annual event. You've all gotten a copy of a memo from myself in which is the reappointment of department heads. And as per statute, our department heads are effective, their appointments run basically from May 1st till April 30th, and the people that I have suggested or asked for your confirmation for tonight would be officially serving from May 1st, 2013 through April 30th, 2014. And they are as follows: City Administrator William McGrath, Assistant City Administrator Jason Bajor, Finance Director and Budget Officer Peggy Colby, Police Chief Gary Shira, Fire Chief Randy Dykey, Public Works Director Gary Holm, City Engineer Noel Basquin, Information Services Director Howard Chasen, Community Development Director, well, I had somebody put Jerry Swanson down here, so. Scott Buning. This is what we do when we bring it out from last year, I guess.
Sorry, Scott.
Electric Department Superintendent Bob Rogge, Street Superintendent Scott Haynes, Water Department Superintendent John Dillon, Wastewater Treatment Superintendent Byron Richardson, ESDA Manager Mark Davis, and City Attorney Kevin Drendel and his firm. Any discussion, or I'd entertain a motion for the confirmation?
So move.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Brian?
I plan to vote no, and this is no reflection on any of the staff. I just think the process doesn't work, and I'd like to see it more of a, I guess, structured process that, you know, there's some evaluation going on with the council. So, and it's no reflection on any of the staff whatsoever, but I'm going to vote no on this.
I kind of echo those comments. Again, not at all about an indictment on the staff. I think, you know, there's excellent people filling these positions. What I wrestle with is a little bit is that when I ran and was elected, there were a lot of people looking for change, and I understand what those sentiments were, but I don't think it's fair to the people that hold these positions to randomly make change for change's sake. Rather, I would appreciate the time to evaluate the positions, to come to know the positions better, know who's filling them, get feedback on those who are exceptional and those who may not be. And so whether it's a vote no or an extension for 3 or 6 months or something, I would like to entertain something like that.
I would back that, just because being so new, I don't even know these people, so to vote one way or the other seems a daunting task to me.
I'm concerned about making human resources a political process or part of a political decision. And I feel that the people that we're appointing tonight, we have the recommendation of the mayor and support of the administrator that hired them, and they're expecting to be reappointed. And I think that in the sake of morale, and for the sake of morale and just general support of the hard work they're doing and the hard work they're going to need to do for the next year, this is a discussion that I think should take place perhaps in the next 6 months for next year. But I think that this is a little bit last minute. And so I would not support these suggestions.
Alderman Brown?
I would agree with Lucy. This is always, the process has always been, you make the recommendation, and certainly the city administrator, that's his responsibility to hire and retain good employment. So I think, I don't think it's ever been the council's role, and maybe that'll change, but I don't think it's ever been the council's role to micromanage. That's what we have an administrator for. So for those reasons, I'm going to support this.
Alderman O'Brien?
I kind of agree with Lucy, and my thing is I'm not in agreement with Steve. I am not looking to change anything, and it's last minute because it came to us last minute. Perhaps and I can say, okay, let's push the process, kick the can down the road for 6 months, as you say, but we need to have this discussion, and it is up to the council, Dave, because the administrator is the administrator, and he's administrating per our wishes and our design, and we do interview these folks who come before us and make the final decision to hire them. And so, and it's no aside against Bill. I mean, Bill does a fine job. I'm not looking to change anybody. It's not a political agenda I have. I just think I'd like to just tighten it for the city's benefit is all. And so if we can kick this down the line, but I definitely want to have a discussion on this.
Alderman Callahan?
I also agree with your position, and my thinking is that our position is to advise and consent, and that would be the checks and balances. And having been newly appointed, I don't think that I have enough information, one way or the other, to fairly evaluate a person's position with the city. It could be just the same as I could listen to what people say on the outside versus what I hear on the inside. I just don't know what's fair for that person. And I somewhat agree with what Alderman Vasilian said, that you move for this very purpose of new people being sworn in, not knowing who the staff is entirely, with having seen them perform, move it further away from an election where you don't necessarily have to make those snap decisions about performance for a year. Other items that we vote on, we will have a lot of information to read up on beforehand. And with the executive branch versus the legislative branch, I wouldn't want to just rubber stamp what the mayor says without a full knowledge that I'm making a fully informed decision. That's my only concern.
Mayor?
I mean, the problem I think we face here is that we've got these people that have been, their term as office is up right now. So, I mean, you've got a whole bunch of people that are our department heads that I don't know who you think is going to come in and run these departments if we don't reappoint these folks. I mean, that's the problem you got here at the moment. And I understand what you're saying about the review process, and maybe that's something we should develop here, but I don't think tonight you can, throw the baby out with the bathwater here.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, the city council is not supposed to be appointing department heads. This is advice and consent, which means you're supposed to know if there's some problem. As you know, my contract is over with. I suggested that you take 6 months, and, I should be evaluated, and their performance should be reflective on, whether you keep me or not, but not these people. You have to have a budget officer at all times, and this is, you're skipping a level. It's really not your role to be hiring or firing department heads. It just isn't your role. The statute says that the mayor nominates, he has the sole right to nominate elected, appointed officials, and you have the right of advice and consent, but it's not to turn that into basically all these people applying for jobs all over again.
Mayor? Bill's point is it is not our job to hire the department heads and everything. It is our job to hire the city administrator, correct? So
Correct.
we base their performance on your performance on their performance. I have always voted against this in the past, but my reasons stem back several years back. But I am going to vote for this tonight because I think it has to go through. But I agree that I don't want it to come through again like this. I think there's going to have to be discussion before, at least at the top level, you know. But we have to pass this through now.
Mr. Mayor, Alderman O'Brien?
So I'm going to change my vote here when we get to it, because I definitely want staff to recognize the fact that I do support you. I mean, and I don't want, I support the staff. It's just the process that I was opposed to. And if I'll vote yes for this for that reason, so I want staff knowing that I'm behind them. But I do want to cover this again in the not-too-distant future, so we're prepared for next year's vote, absolutely.
Other comments?
I mean, in the legal world, can you appoint without council consent?
60 days.
Pardon me?
I can appoint for 60 days.
And then you would need council.
Then it's back to you again.
Okay, thank you.
So no one's losing a job. No, I don't think that's the issue. I don't think we're advocating, that I am advocating any position going unfilled. We've had very short notice, and not familiar with the job descriptions and what's involved in that. So
It's an annual exercise that we go through every first
understand.
meeting in May. And so, that normally, I mean, the members of the city council obviously have been here for a while and they understand what everybody is and how it's working and whatever. So I certainly don't have any problems with you, wanting to bring it up and have a discussion about how we do it and where we want to go with this, the whole process here. But I mean, at this particular moment, we got to keep these people in the job because they're the ones that are running the city on a day-to-day basis.
I think from my standpoint and what I've heard from other comments from people tonight is that it's really more about the process leading up to this. With everything else we do, we get background, we get memos, we get a lot of information before we make a decision. And I think it's just a process problem that we have, that this just comes up and it's basically we rubber stamp what's here. And I think even if it was just with justification from the city administrator that, these are some of the criteria that I use to judge the department heads. They've met it, or they haven't met it, and this is where I'm at before we vote on it. I think that that's really all we need to lead up to this. Or even if there's some kind of change that we need in the process to get to that point, that's for your committee to decide.
and my vote no is solely about the process, not the people. And I sincerely mean that.
We have a motion and second on the floor for the approval of the department heads as presented. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown?
Aye.
Clark? Atak?
Aye.
Transit? Wolf?
Aye.
Sparks?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Homan?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Vasilian?
No.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye. That vote is 12 yes, 1 no, and 1 absent. So, thank you for that, and we will obviously make note of that, and it will be on the Government Services Committee agenda to proceed with investigation and discovery and review of that whole process. Okay, moving then to item number 14, which is review of vision statement. Bill?
Thanks, Mayor. I had a couple items in the memo that I sent out. The first one was that, as I explained, I really had some second thoughts about having a retreat this early on in people's tenure. logistical problem is we can't find a weekend when you're all available. But as I talked to a potential facilitator, we talked more and more about that, and he was, as I said in my memo, a little, the first thing he felt he had to do, because the group was so large, would be to split it up into groups, which is exactly the opposite of what we're really trying to go through. And as I thought more and more about it, with this change in the committees and the change in kind of the evenings and all that, I really felt that the most important thing was that, and this is totally up to the council, is that maybe what you really need is more experience together actually taking votes and having committee meetings, and then with that background, a retreat would be much more meaningful. And as I thought further, I thought that you know, certainly going on a retreat, you're not going to, you know, generally it's about, you know, teamwork and communication issues and all that. It's not necessarily that you go back and immediately change some of the basic, the fundamental values that the city council has established, you know, and frankly, you know, over the years. And I felt that the important thing would be to try and have the council look at those, that is the value statements, the vision and the mission statements, and I'm not saying that they need to be done tonight, but I thought that, you know, if you can't gain agreement on those core values, then it's really meaningless to start going forward into strategic planning, because those strategies are to come up with the goals that ultimately achieve what your visions are. So I've passed out the value statements, the vision and the mission statements that have been fashioned over the last several years, and then coming out of those were the strategic themes and rationales that came out of the work with Dr. Gabris of NIU last year, and see what the council wanted to do with those, whether they would like to set aside, have us really try to have a relatively light evening on a joint meeting schedule, if we can work one of those out and just talk about these things, or find out whether people who have been on the council when these were developed have any different attitude about them, or people who are new on the council have different attitudes about them, because those in fact are the basic things before we do anything else. It'll be budget time before we know it in August, and so the timing is good to at least see if there's basic agreement on these things, so that we can start proposing goals and strategies for you that will be backed up by the budget as we start passing it. That's just my thoughts. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts about that, or I guess number one, whether you think the idea of maybe just holding off on a retreat until this council has more experience working with each other makes sense or not, or
I think it makes sense.
What?
I certainly endorse that idea. I really feel that certainly our joint committee meetings is going to give us an opportunity to kind of get to know each other and have some understanding. And what Bill and I talked about also is maybe at some of the future city council meetings or work sessions, we'll try to maybe take a few minutes at different ones and introduce, I'll call it history lessons on some of the things that have gone on. One of them that I'm planning to give you here real quick is I've invited the Fermilab folks over probably for next week's work session to just have a discussion with them about our relationship with them and where some of the things they're talking about doing, so that all the members of the city council are right on the front page with them knowing what they're going to be talking about in the near term here. I just use that as an illustration or an example of how we're trying to kind of bring everybody into the fold here, so everybody's on the same page and understands what is all being talked about. And that's not something you can do overnight or through a weekend retreat. I mean, it's going to take a few months for us all to get on the same page and understand what we're doing here. So
I guess what I would suggest is that we put this on a government services portion of a joint meeting in a couple of weeks, and really give the council time to chew back over these. They can certainly mail me any questions they might have. Drew's already asked me to send him a SWOT analysis that was done a couple of years ago. I don't know how, I don't think technically that was part of the same process that led into these, but it certainly would help. I mean, we have a lot of data we could send you that's been done at earlier meetings, but I'd say bring it back in 2 or 3 weeks, and just see what people's opinions are about these fundamental values. Because if we can't agree on there, then, like, as I say, strategy makes no sense. Does that make sense? They're pretty basic vision statements.
I would support that.
So would I.
I think we just kind of, general consensus here.
Okay. I can't make motions, so.
Let's go to the 15 administrators report then.
Okay. River Street, North River Street, a portion of North River Street will be closed on May 30th to facilitate installation of the arch. The Wilson Street project is moving along very smoothly thus far. They've run into a little more bedrock than they thought, so it's going to slow them down a little bit, but I think once we saw that putting in the rough, loose aggregate really doesn't work at all on Wilson. They've done a nice job of asphalting over everything, and I think they're keeping the job site really clean. They're on schedule to finish before the end of the year with hopefully, probably landscaping next spring. Please notice that the completion of the mid-block crossing at Wilson Street, or on Wilson, west of River Street, commonly known as right in front of Fultos's Barber Shop. There's signage there. And it's also a marked walk, but I think people still need to be very careful, particularly for cars that are coming from northbound Route 25 and whipping around that corner. The painting of the parking garage on North River Street began today. I think it looks really great. It really kind of makes that building look more like an actual building instead of a parking deck, so if you have a chance to go by. The electric crews installed additional lighting in the Baptist Church parking lot today. We are delineating that area as a long-term parking for, long-term day parking for area employees and the business owners, so we wanted to make sure that people felt secure in that area. Soon it will also serve as the overnight parking for downtown residents. The police department will be issuing permits and will be contacting residents about that program very soon. And lastly, I think maybe Alderman Chanzit and Homan may have something to say, but I wanted to thank them. They were able to loosen up their schedules and represent the city down in Springfield as part of the Metro West Drive down last week. And that's all I have at the moment.
Bill?
Any questions?
Yes, sir. Yeah. First of all, I'm really pleased with how orderly and clean the work on Wilson Street has been. It's been really nice to drive through there and see so little slowdown or anything. One question I have is with the bedrock that they've discovered or that they run into under there. Is that included in our budget, or is there a cost overrun that has to be addressed?
Well, it's included in the budget. It's a unit price, so there's an allowance for so much bedrock, and Noel's shaking his head saying that it's still within the budget. Okay. So I suppose the real answer is at the end, to see how much there is.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, just one comment. I wanted to thank us for getting the crosswalk done in front of Fultos's there. It took 5 years, but we got it. And a little history lesson there, like you say, we're going to hear a lot of these history lessons, I think. Way back when we were talking about rebuilding the bridge, that was a discussion that got brought up about that crosswalk, and it was Alderman Hart that was adamant that crosswalk go in because the intersection of River and Wilson and 30 or 25 is such a mess there that there really isn't any safe, defined way to cross there. It's just we all know what it's like. So that was his goal at that time, was to make sure that we saw a crosswalk a little bit further away from that intersection that was safe to cross, and that's why it's there. And then I also wanted to mention that Friday night I was downtown, and I was very pleased to see that you couldn't find a parking spot anywhere on the east side of the river, except for the parking lot, which is a city parking lot on the southeast corner of 25 and Wilson. And it's kind of a hidden parking lot, and it to some people it almost looks like a private residence area. So I'm thinking we need to look at some signage.
We're working on signage right now for that lot.
There you go.
Right out on Route 25 and on Wilson, indicating it's a public, and that is, again, is an all-day parking lot for employees, but anybody else can use them. I guess if you're going to talk about the intersection just while we're here, is that we have fought with IDOT several different occasions to try and have the crossings at the actual intersection of River Street and Wilson to So you could actually walk from corner to corner the way it seems natural, and they will not allow it, whatever the reason is, they want you to walk diagonally. So I just dealt with a complaint today by somebody who was walking that way, and one of our policemen thought it was a very dangerous situation, and I'm going to raise the issue, and I think we may have to put up a little fencing or something there like they do in a lot of other cities, just to indicate that you can't cross that way. It's tough intersection.
I just, to kind of piggyback on that, Bill, is my wife and I walked downtown Sunday morning, got a cup of coffee, walked back home, and we're just kind of walking around the River Street, and we could not get across the street at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. It was difficult to get across. And I know Eldon had a suggestion about having the lights all shut traffic down. I don't know if that's doable.
I don't think it is. We can check it again with IDOT, but I don't.
Just for public safety.
Just to have a total open crossing, they call it, or something.
Right.
The problem with that, it'll screw the interconnect up. And it takes several light cycles before we get back to the actual interconnect again. So they said they wouldn't allow it. That's why they have it. They said they would keep it as is, but if you do it all stop, it affects all the legs and it'll throw off the interconnect.
I think when we get up to new lights, and maybe we just need to keep on fighting to have it
That'll be our challenge.
friendlier, yeah.
And Bill, you brought up, last week Alderman Chanzit and Holman went down to the Metro West drive down, and they were kind enough on their way back from Springfield, because they had had some insightful discussions down there, to call me and chit-chat about their meeting with the Illinois Department of Natural Resources about potential available money on the dam. Dan, or whatever, you want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, at a time when the state government says that there is no money available, we were pleasantly surprised to hear during one of the presentations that there's a big pot of about $40 million that's set aside for removing dams. And I know Batavia's had that discussion in the past, and it didn't get removed about 10 years ago, but the dam is slowly on its way from destroying itself. It just so happens that now we have some time to plan for it, and there is money available, so rather than deal with it in a crisis situation, if we can come to an agreement and approach the state, this is a wonderful opportunity for us, again, to fix this once and for all. So I would ask that we would talk about this at committee at some point.
I'll give you a history lesson.
Yeah.
Number one, I want to appreciate that the two of them went down, because I appreciate you donating 2 days to do this. Secondly, it's obviously good that we go down there and find out about what at least the state. I've been here so long, I'm kind of cynical of listening to when the state of Illinois tells you they got money to give away. And looking at their financial statement, I'm not quite sure how they figure they're going to do that, but they told you that, and I believe what they told you, that you told me.
Yes.
That being said, I guess, you know, I've made today I tried to attempt to call my contacts that I've talked to in the past at the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. They were busy. I left a message and asked that they contact us back so that maybe they could send me up some type of a written documentation that I could share with the rest of you as to what this program is and if it is applicable to Batavia. My experience with them has always been that if they have it's dam removal is what they're talking about. And as all of you, I think, are familiar, we talked about this and we're taking some actions about it, and then we had citizens initiatives. We had a referendum in town a number of years ago about removing the dam, and people voted overwhelmingly to keep the dam, at least for that period of time. So when that happened, the state of Illinois kind of took their money and went elsewhere, and, you know, they haven't been really receptive to talking to us since.
My fear is that Mother Nature will make the decision for us
you
very
may
soon.
very well be right. I think that there's probably some bigger issues. There's some other folks I think we need probably to involve in that discussion. The County Forest Preserve with the impacts it would have on Fabians, and our friends at the Park District and the Depot Pond. There's a lot of moving parts to this thing, so it's not one thing that you just arbitrarily make a decision and start to go, but I appreciate you bringing it up, and it's something that I guess maybe is one of our joint committee meetings, should be one of the items that maybe we begin some preliminary discussion about it, find out what we can't do, what are the constraints and what is the possibilities, and is there anything or is there nothing that we want to do about it at the end of the day. So, but I mean, I certainly don't want to talk about it tonight because it's very preliminary, and there's a whole bunch of other things that need to be thrown into that discussion before we get too far down the road. I'm just a little bit leery right now of the state of Illinois telling anybody they got money, because I'm not at all confident they got much to give anybody, but that remains to be seen.
Did you want us to save the remainder of our report for the other business portion as well?
Sure, if you want. Bill brought it up, and I just appreciated that you guys went down there.
You done with me?
Yep, I guess. Okay, committee reports. Community Development, Alderman Brown.
Your Honor, it looks like on this coming Tuesday, tomorrow, May 21st, we have one item on our agenda, which is the facade grant for O'Brien's Pub. The next meeting, which will be on May 28th, we also have one item on that agenda, which is streetscape overview and the future of the streetscape program. I would expect that we'll be given another history lesson on how we got to where we're at with the streetscape and why we got to where we're at, and then we'll discuss where we're going to go from there and what the plans. There's already a plan on where we're going to go from here, but we can review that plan and we can discuss that plan. That's all I have.
Okay. Public Utilities, Alderman Clark, Chairman.
Tomorrow night's meeting, there's two public utilities items. One is the LNS Electric Master Service Agreement, and then the other one is the LNS Electric Task Order Number 1. Looks like the directional boring is being pushed to the May 28th meeting. Thank you.
City Services, Alderman Wolf.
Thank you. Tomorrow night, we will have on City Services portion of the agenda, a cemetery code update, forestry code update, and crime-free housing status presentation. Then moving on to the May 28th Committee of the Whole meeting, we will have the Deer Path budget amendment bridge work. I would like to keep that at the end of the meeting because I will probably be late, as I will be attending the school board meeting in support of a teacher that everybody should inform themselves on and make a decision on, and if you so choose, support the teacher.
So you're not going to be here for the first part of the meeting?
I will not be here for that because I plan on speaking at that meeting.
So we delay your part of this?
Leave mine at the end of the agenda.
Government Services, Alderman Sparks.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tomorrow we have the first item is limits on the number of electronic meeting attendances. The second one is surplus city property, the homestead. The third item is bond record keeping policy resolution 13-75R. On the 28th, we'll have the Main Street SSA 57 and the Art Van incentive agreement. Hopefully, for tomorrow night, you can get some committee chairs in place because I will not be at that meeting.
Tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
Okay.
I think the mayor should do it.
We'll handle it for you.
All right. Okay, moving to item 17, other business. Do we have anything on the council of other business?
I do, Your Honor.
Alderman Bouchon?
I received a complaint from a constituent about large garage sales that occurring in the 5th Ward. It's at 329 North Jefferson. And the complainant says that what's actually occurring is the operation of a resale shop being run from a residential location, year-round outside storage occurring in his rear yard, multiple large tents with merchandise occupying most of the front yard, and a duration of tent setup that spans up to 6 days when you consider the setup, the garage sale time, and the allotted takedown times. The homeowners, Mr. and Mrs. Naylor, who I've had several constructive conversations with, they maintain that they're in complete compliance with all the city ordinances and that they're being unfairly singled out for this complaint. Further, they respectfully request to be included in any and all discussions pertaining to any proposed revisions to the garage sale ordinances. I contacted Bill and Jason and have had several really helpful dialogues about this neighborhood issue as we've talked about the challenges of balancing individual civil liberties versus protecting the rights of other homeowners. And lest it sound like this is all being very amenable and friendly, it's not been. There are people's passions that are kind of raised about this issue. Bill suggested that I invite the council members to visit this yard sale and form their own firsthand opinion, which is why I sent out the email that I did. And I felt that it's my responsibility to both parties to follow up on the complaint and ask if a fellow alderman will join me in asking city staff to revisit the ordinance governing garage sales to determine if this instance exceeds the intended limits as is complained or not, as the homeowner maintains, and if so, whether this ordinance needs tightening.
I'll join you with that.
I would absolutely join. I drove by as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
So we will let the staff just explore it a little bit more. We've been here before with this.
I know.
as you
I know.
And then we will bring it to, obviously, a joint committee meeting at some future date, and I assume, and we will then
Government services.
invite all the parties.
Okay.
I mean, there's several parties up, I don't know who I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it, but there's several parties, Alderman Atek and I have regular conversations about this situation, and there's several parties up there that have opinions about this.
And as far as Mr. Naylor is concerned, he is asked to participate in the process. Is that participation only permitted during committee meetings or council meetings during public testimony, or is he allowed to, like, sit down and meet with city staff? What's the proper way to tell him what his rights
I
are?
think Scott's met with city staff on a number of occasions. I mean, that I'm aware of. He's had a number of conversations with us.
Okay.
So, you know, he's a nice enough guy. I've always gotten along with him. But obviously there are some people, like you say, that have some very passionate opinions about this situation.
I'm trying to be fair to both parties.
And so, yeah, I appreciate what you're doing, and if you want to bring it back up and have the discussion, let's bring it back up and have the discussion. You know, we'd been through this once before when we reduced the number of garage sales anybody can have per year to 2, I believe, and that was one of the driving forces for that amendment to the ordinance. And then I think we even moved back how far your garage sale could be from your neighbor's property line. That
And
was
how many days the tent could be
how
up.
many days the tent could be up, how far the tent has to be off your property line from your neighbor's property line. We've had a lot of refinements to this whole situation as it's emerged over the last several years, and I know Alderman Atek, you've been party to this.
Yes.
And so,
And, you know, I believe Rhonda does feel that he's in compliance with the code. Maybe you might want to consider the storage issue, maybe take a look at that. But other than that, I think he's doing what our code says.
So this goes to city staff now, and
right,
they
we'll go to
will
city
study
staff,
and
and
make
then they will
recommendations.
make us some recommendations, and then we will bring it to committee, and all of you are going to be hopefully sitting at the committee meeting, and if Mr. Naylor wants to come down, or some of the other folks that I know have opinions about this, bring them on down, and, we can have another go at this situation. I'm kind of.
Thank you. I
kind of
appreciate
hit
it.
my head on the wall on this one, because I've been there with it several, I think it's obvious that we have tried to do some stuff with this before. I mean, we've changed dates, and we've moved lines, and we've done a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm not sure we ever get nobody seems to walk away happy from the discussions, but welcome to the city council.
Thank you.
As we're on that situation there, what is the time frame after a garage sale's over to have everything out? Because I've had a
24
couple.
hours, according to what?
What, 24 hours?
Yes.
Because I have a complaint of several constituents that have contacted me about one at the end of my street that still has the tent from the garage sale at the city, during the city garage sale, that's still up with stuff in it.
I just think in fairness to proper disclosure here, this is not limited to the 300 block of North Jefferson Street. This situation is like a moving target, and it goes all over town, and it's east side, west side.
Got one right on Main Street if you want to see it. It's a 40-foot-long tent.
And Rhonda, our enforcement officer, is out with some regularity and on first-name basis with many of these people that are involved in this situation. So it's an ongoing situation that involves multiple residents. This is not restricted to one particular situation. But it's, here talking about education, this is good for the 6 new aldermen to begin to understand this, because this is one that continuously raises its head every few months. I think some of the rest of us are kind of smiling here because we've been there and done this several times already, so. Okay, anybody else have other business? Any matters? No, we've already moved matters from the public. Under the mayor's report tonight, I just wanted to make a couple of comments here. When I read the announcements of my reappointments of department heads, there was one new person named on there, and that was Mark Davis, is going to be the, now under our reorganization of ESDA, is going to be the manager of the Batavia Emergency Services and Disaster Agency. I just want to note that that was done after Jeff Glazier, who has very honorably served the city for 38 years. He has had that position. He has indicated to us his desire to retire. And I think some of that, regrettably, is that the city council made the decision to reorganize ESDA and place it under the control of the Batavia Fire Department. And Jeff didn't necessarily agree with that decision. I don't think that's any secret. He did not. He would rather have remained his own independent agency. There were a lot of factors that drove, I think, our thinking that we needed to realign ESDA under the fire department. One of the big ones is that under the way the state of Illinois now regulates dispatch of emergency equipment to other agencies, they have changed the system in Illinois. Instead of what we used to call mutual aid, if there was a tornado, like the night is a good example. The night of the terrible tornado that struck Plainfield in 1990, the Batavia Emergency Services and Disaster Agency, Plainfield called up here and said they needed light equipment. And I think the call came to our fire department. Fire department contacted me, and because we didn't have a mutual aid agreement with Plainfield in 1990, and the Plainfield Fire Department called. I said, well, send whatever we can to help them out. And so then the fire chief asked me at the time, he says, well, Batavia ESDA has a tremendous lighting equipment. Can we send them? So I said, absolutely. So they toned out ESDA, and Batavia ESDA responded with our fire department to Plainfield. They were down there all night. On the way back the next day, Batavia's ESDA equipment was struck by an irate driver on Route 59, and most of our equipment got destroyed. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but they smashed up our ESDA trailer, and the whole thing was wrecked. And fortunately, their insurance paid for it, but we lost a whole bunch of equipment coming back from that. Nobody got hurt. But that was a shining moment of example of how Batavia ESDA under Director Glazier has participated and done some really admirable things, because they ended up going down to the Plainfield High School, which had been hit directly by the tornado, and there were several people who were trapped in that building and had to be extricated and whatever, and they needed lights, and we were there, and we did, I think, an admirable thing that night. So today, if that were to happen, because of they realigned the whole mutual aid system in the state of Illinois, so now they have what we call MABUS, which is an acronym for Mutual Aid Box Alarm System. And to be in the MABUS system, you have to be on the card of the agency requesting it. So most of the ESDA agencies are not on anybody's card. They're kind of like dinosaurs sitting by themselves. So by realigning it into the Batavia Fire Department, if a similar thing were to happen tonight, we could say, you call the Batavia Fire Department, ESDA is part of the Batavia Fire Department, we would automatically probably bring our ESDA light truck and whatever else they wanted to a situation like that. So that was one of the reasons we wanted to bring the fire department in control over ESDA, because the fire department is part of the MABUS system, and we were able to kind of integrate that in. Jeff indicated that he'd been here 38 years, he didn't like the changes, so he was going to retire. So I know Chief Dykey, who is now the director of ESDA, is planning to have Jeff come to a future city council meeting. We're going to honor him. We've got some plaques to give him and some other stuff. So I just wanted to recognize his service to the community tonight, because I'm sure I've already had one call today from the press about why, what happened and where did he go. He left his choice to retire. He was offered to be the ESDA director. he decided he did not want or manager, he decided he didn't want to continue and was going to retire. So Mark Davis, who has been the captain of ESDA for a number of years, has ably stepped forward and has been named to run the agency under the fire department's command right now. And he's standing there in the back door right now. And are you watching the radar? Is that what you're watching? So, I mean, this just gives you an idea of how committed these people. Do we have any storms coming toward us?
Yes.
How close?
County south.
Are they moving this way?
Yes. We're running through their thunderstorm watch right now.
Oh, we are? Okay, thank you for that good news. So, let's see, we just got an executive session left, so hopefully we'll get everybody. When you say 2 counties, where are we, down in Grundy someplace, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Are these ESDA and Mavis networks, are those just regional, or do they extend
Right.
the state, but within the state of Illinois?
It's a state-run program, statewide, and we are part of it, and works very, very well. You know, as an example, when the Plainfield thing happened, you know, we were able to get over 120 fire departments down to Plainfield within a short period of time.
It's already here.
I would tell you, it's one of the best things Illinois ever did, but to get ESDA into a situation where they can respond, we had to bring them under our fire department, among other things.
10:30.
So, at this time, I guess I would entertain a motion for executive session for the purposes of discussing collective bargaining and property acquisition.
I move we enter executive session for the purpose of collective bargaining and property acquisition.
Second.
Motion and second that the council enter executive session for property acquisition and collective bargaining. Clerk, call the roll.
Brown?
Aye.
Clark? Atack?
Aye.
Chanzit? Wolf?
No.
Sparks?
Yes.
Someone had to do it.
Did you say aye? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Yes.
Yes, okay. O'Brien?
Aye.
Callahan?
Aye.
Homan?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Vasilian?
Aye.
Saron?
Aye.
McFadden?
Aye.
Okay.